I'm going to say this at risk of my job, Kelly, but what President Trump is doing is insane. It is absolutely insane. It is about the eighth reason we've had for the tariffs. And now he's saying he's putting 50% tariffs on Canada unless they agree to become the 51st state. That is insane. There is just no other way of describing it. And the trouble, Kelly, is that it shows there are no bounds around President Trump. This is very different from the first administration, where there were people around him who seemed to, I don't know what the word is, but smooth over some of the edges now. And the other thing that's not talked about, Kelly, is what's going on within the administration in terms of how they're treating the Constitution and laws. I think all of that is bad for the attraction of capital. And the gentleman from Bridgewater is 100% right. We need massive amounts of capital if we want to fund our deficits, pay for the things we want to pay for, sell our bonds, and have high stock prices. And it seems as if this administration is doing everything it can to chase foreign capital away.
Hello, this is Cyan.
And I'm Magenta.
And we are Cyan Magenta Media. That was CNBC anchor Steve Leeson, basically just eviscerating Trump on not just his financial policies and the current stock market trend, but also I like how he threw in the part there about basically him shredding the Constitution.
Yeah, I was a little distracted by the guy in the back who's like sitting in a lawn chair in the woods.
I know. I don't know what that. He talked for a while before, but I didn't show that because this part with Steve Leeson is the part that really stood out to everybody. CNBC is obviously it's NBC, but it is the financial network of NBC. It is just all Trump all the time. They love him. You know, they fall for that myth, because I want to make this very clear. It is a myth. And we will do an episode on this too with stats and figures and all that. But just please know, it is absolutely a myth that Republicans are better for the economy than Democrats. Democrats have made almost every job in the last 50 years. The stock market's always up. 401ks are up. Your average person does better. I will go into it in more details with statistics, charts, graphs, all that sort of thing. The biggest trick that the Republicans have ever played is making you think they're better for the economy than Democrats. It's truly insane. But yeah, so today basically I want to go over, there is a lot of hardcore, true red conservatives and Trump supporters who have just been kind of going off on him recently, because I think they're getting to the point where they even know this is bad. And I don't want to sound resistance lib like or whatever, where it's like, oh, the dam is starting to break and things are going to change. We're a long way from that. But I do have to say that I think some of the higher level people in the conservative movement, in terms of the news apparatus, are starting to think that this guy is going to fuck shit up so bad that they're not even going to be able to spin it. Because in my opinion, what needs to change is things need to get so bad for the average person that they look and they think, what is going on here? My life is falling to pieces.
I've said it before, the fact that the average American's retirement plan is tied up into the stock market, when the people that voted for him, who are very close to retirement, realize that they're missing half of the balance that they had, last year.
Yeah.
I think that's when people are really going to start setting off alarm bells, especially we saw it happen in 2008. Here we go, round two. Everything is cyclical and it's coming back around. Some people who just, finally caught back up and finished recovering and superseded their losses from 2008 because the average American didn't have the extra couple grand a month to throw into their 401k to get caught back up immediately. Here we go again.
I hate to say it's going to take this, like, basically the suffering of normal people to end this.
Also, the United States needs to take a card from the French playbook and do something about it. Make a stand, do something to stop it.
So yeah, I have a few more clips I want to go over of more examples of this, of the sort of, the dam starting to break.
I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I wasn't going to say it, but again, I used to co-host with the transportation secretary, and like
Howard,
the transportation
who's that?
secretary.
Duffy.
Oh, I forgot.
Shame on you. But some of the people in communications at the White House, in the Treasury, will not respond to the show, trying to just book anybody to talk about this economy.
So you're saying
they won't even answer the show But Scott Bessent goes on one of the lowest rated shows on another network. I mean, you could open the window and shout out of the window in the middle of New York City.
He did speak with Kudlow at the economic club.
I know. I'm just saying that if they want to communicate with the American people, then...
Well, he's trying to communicate to the
So
market.
I'm calling him out.
Here's the thing.
Like, you know what? The people who work for these Treasury secretaries need to answer a text message.
By the way, I know
It's shameful.
I know that Howard is the
I'm not talking about Howard
is the
Lutnick.
Commerce Secretary, but my point is he's trying to like soothe the market, and he did a horrible job doing it.
Oh, she big mad.
Yeah, that's Dagan McDowell. The reason I like this one is you always hear how Trump is the most transparent president we've ever had. Just because you get up in front of an audience and you spout nonsensical lies does not mean you're transparent. That's my biggest, I think that might be my biggest pet peeve with Trump and the way his supporters talk about him. I mean, I know they're gullible, they fall for different things, whatever. But to think that Trump is transparent, Trump only talks about things that are going well for him. He will never get up there and be confronted by one of these people, especially on Fox Business. If Fox isn't conservative for you, you'll watch Fox Business. This is just straight stock market guys all the time. And they're getting upset because the Trump administration is not talking to them. And there are two people from Fox in the Trump administration, and they cannot get a call back. I do think it's funny, though, too, because, access journalism, all they ever want to do is keep all these people happy, so they keep coming on their shows. It's a little funny to hear them butthurt that no one's answering their calls. Another example of just true red, always on Trump's side, kind of starting to get a little pissed at him. And I really love to see it.
Oh, she is so mad. And
Yeah.
to go back to what you were saying about how Trump is, people always say, oh, he's the most transparent. Except there's nothing transparent about him. Anybody can go up and tell a lie to make themselves look good. But
Yeah.
the thing is, everyone's like, oh, well, he says it how it is. No, he doesn't. He fabricates how it is. And the one time that he did talk about something that wasn't going so well for him was when he just told everyone to get over the price of eggs already. We had this conversation while we were cooking dinner yesterday of he was raised in privilege,
Yeah.
like a high level of privilege enough that his family probably always had staff. We were trying to determine if he knew how many items contain eggs besides just breakfast. Like,
Yeah.
does he know there are eggs in cake? Does he know there are eggs in batter?
Yeah.
And also, we were trying to determine if he has ever cooked anything for himself or anyone else in his life.
I think he hasn't. I don't think he's ever cooked a dish. Well, it kind of goes back to we're talking about it right now. I want to do a larger video on just the general Trump grift, but it kind of goes back to how in that video of him trying to sell the Tesla, he says, I can't drive a car because I haven't driven a car in many years.
Yeah.
So the guy can't even drive a car. I understand New York, he's been driven around, but that's just how out of touch he is to you. I bet he couldn't make a cheeseburger even though he eats them all the time.
I don't understand how he became the voice for the population of America that he did because he could not sit in a room and relate to a single person that supports him that
No.
isn't a billionaire.
Do you know what he reminds me of? And this just occurred to me. This was a big thing in like edgelord mid 2000s, early 2000s. And this used to drive me nuts. I used to get in arguments with people about this. There's always those people that are like, I'm always me. You get me every time. I never sugarcoat things. It's always me. Like, I'm not a different person around everyone else. I'm real all the time. That's Trump in a sense. And those people that are like, I'm always unfiltered me, that's not good. You should have public you, private you, work you. It's okay to tame shit down. These are the same type of people that have, I always talk about the woman, the drunk woman at the end of the bar at the VFW, like that
Yes.
vibe of person.
Yes.
That's what Trump is. Keeping on the theme of the most right-wing version of any network, we have CNBC again. And this is another CNBC host, Jim Cramer. He hosted Mad Money for many years.
Yes.
This guy he's a general asshole. Everyone knows it. He's got a lot of bad financial advice, whatever. But at the end of the day, he's conservative and he's generally on the side of conservative fiscal policy, big stock market guy. And even he's had enough of Trump.
Jim, we do have the response from China and to some degree Canada. Scheinbaum in Mexico says we'll learn more from her on Sunday.
Right. Look, I think Well, but just to say, there's just vast confusion. No one knows. I mean, the automakers don't know what this is going to mean. The packaged goods companies don't know what it's mean when it comes from another country. There's no clarity whatsoever. Anyone who thinks that there's clarity is just completely wrong. I like Howard Luddick. I've known him for years. I mean, he's got some instances about autos. But it isn't like they've said, okay, look, here's the schedule, here's the tariff. Like when you were in Europe and they did Brexit, you got the schedule, you got the tariff. You said, oh, okay, I owe this. They haven't given us anything. We don't know what we owe and what we don't owe. We don't know where it's paid. We don't know if it isn't paid. Do we owe them? Who owes it? Does the buyer owe it? I mean, the lack of any thought about this, David, is stunning.
It is.
This is a huge amount of money involved.
Potentially, yeah.
We don't know. It is such a show that it is extraordinary to me that this is America. We don't have any plan. I mean, we need a plan.
Well, and you're talking.
Everyone's packing to pay. We just don't know if we pay.
And you're talking about the product that's incoming. Yesterday, the president posted to farmers to get ready to sell more ag in the United States. He said, have fun.
They can't.
And then this morning, of course, China puts 10 to 15 on pork, on beef, on dairy, on vegetables.
Fruits, any milk products. It goes on from there. Cotton, corn, wheat.
Do you want facts? Because facts are such a bummer right now. I mean, like I come with facts. For instance, it takes we're a year and a half away from the herd being big enough for cattle to come down in price. That's from AGCO. Now, I can say to you, Farmer David, oh my God, David, why don't you just go increase the herd? Why don't you take advantage of this? And you should be saying, yes, absolutely, I want to do that, Mr. President. I definitely do that. And then you go back to the people who work for you and they say, were you that stupid that you had to go do that? Couldn't you just admit that you can't increase the herd? Then you'd say, well, I'm scared to because, you see, I'm on TV. And then I come back and say, why don't you stand up? Then you say, why don't you stand up? There, okay, there's America right now. Just in a nutshell. That's America. And, like, it's a great country.
Okay, well, that was a wonderful, like, exasperated tantrum.
I know.
But I think my favorite part of this is when he just right here at the end when he was talking to the David guy saying like, pretend you're a farmer, you're gonna, you're gonna go and increase your herd next year, and he goes back to his farm to talk to his workers. What workers? Because none of them are showing up because they're all gonna be deported.
That's a really good point I didn't consider. And the point he's making is so true. We can't do this.
Oh.
We don't have the structure to do this. We don't have the infrastructure to do this. This is why NAFTA was shit. Our trade deals have not been great. I mean, there's stuff to fix in trade. The irony of it is USMCA, the trade deal that we are now acting under with Canada and Mexico that Trump calls shit, is the deal that he made last time he was in office when he killed NAFTA and then made USMCA. So we're operating under Trump's North American trade deal right now. But the thing is, listen, you can tariff. Like when people made a big deal that Biden kept the China tariffs. Biden kept the China tariffs because it's things like processors, chips, electronics, that sort of thing. That's the CHIPS Act. We are actively trying to move that industry into the United States through the CHIPS Act, which Trump is killing. When you have product that you are capable of making or firing up production for it, you tariff the country that makes it so they don't bring in that product.
Yeah, 100%.
So that your domestic production of that product increases. We don't have the area for these cows. We don't have the soybeans. We don't have the farmers. We don't have the farms to work it. That's what Jim Cramer is saying in his very funnily, his hilariously exacerbated way. Trump did the tariff part without doing the domestic production part. And that has been my point since this whole thing started, where we're like, everything's going to go up. And everyone says, well, we'll just make it in America. We can't do that.
Nope. And I'm always going to bring this up. They always said they couldn't raise minimum wage because the price of everything would go up. Well, guess what? They didn't raise minimum wage and the price of everything went up.
I fully agree. I think that is a perfect place to end things, actually. If you could please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And go ahead and peruse our links below to find us on other social media. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us there as well. Thank you.